It's these very base animal drives that Jesus addressed to his disciples, to those who were chosen to be able to see who he was. It's those base animal desires on the very most basic level that he addresses when he says, don't worry about getting food. Don't worry about clothes, having a house to live in. And we read that, and it's confusing because we're in a time where that doesn't really make itself much of an issue. Back then, it made itself a lot more an issue, finding enough food to eat and making sure you had warm enough clothes. Now we read that and we say, that doesn't really apply to me. But again, Jesus was talking about a process. Jesus was addressing a process. It wasn't just about food and warmth. It was about surviving. And it isn't just about surviving physically. Because once that seems to be met in the animal, it turns into something else. It turns into a different type of survival, a different type of craving. The craving to survive, the need to survive, that which is the craving to survive, the need to survive, that which is inherent in the animals, in the humans, transfers to other areas of existence. It doesn't just live in the physical survival and then once that's met, it's not there anymore. That's kind of how the animal thinks. Doesn't consider that what Jesus was talking about wasn't about just food and clothing. It wasn't about physical survival. It was about the voice. It was about that voice of instinct in them telling them to survive. It was about that voice of the adversary because he was talking about those who were chosen to follow him, those who were chosen to know who he really was. Those who were chosen to be able to hear what he was saying, those who were given ears that could hear what he was really saying in the riddles that he was saying to the public, so that the public wouldn't know what he was saying. He was talking to those who were chosen to believe that secret voice of the Father telling them that he was the one who was to come, that he was this Messiah. And it's significant because he didn't look like the Messiah, he didn't get the validation from the animals. He was not accepted as that which they looked for. So what these disciples had to believe isn't some generic idea that Jesus is the better God, or that their version of Jesus is the best version of Jesus, and therefore the better God, the only God, the God who will wipe everyone out and then save them. They had to believe that the voice, which was speaking only to them and purposefully not speaking to the general public, on purpose, in the words of the Son, I speak to you and tell you, reveal the mystery of the kingdom, but to the general public I speak in riddles so that they won't know what I'm talking about. Ungeneric. Not the mush-mouth God of love who wanted all the humans to come and follow him and flock after him. But the Son who heard the word of the Father speaking secretly inside him and not to everyone else, telling him he was the one, and it not being very believable. Not the loving Jesus God who wanted everyone to follow him. But when he saw groups following him, groups of generic animals who wanted their cravings to be satisfied, he told them things that they hated, that they couldn't hear, that they didn't want to hear, that was against their law. Things that made him, to them, a false Messiah, because he spoke against the law of Moses according to them, when he told them they had to drink his blood